this is what I was talking about. Like, you turn it the other way, and that's the reverse version of the reversed Blumpkin? I don't know. It was a really silly thing to be talking about with the guy. I had no idea what he was talking about. And we went live while I was talking about that on the Metal Lab. I am currently fighting the forces of the Turkey Coma. And I am Jason, as I am every week. Joined by Jay, also joined basically every week. Pretty much. It is Canadian Thanksgiving Day today, and I've had a lot of meat in my belly. It's time for me to hit the exercise bike again starting tomorrow. I've been really bad about exercise myself. Brutal. Who closes a gym ever? Before we get started, I want to just kind of take a quick personal note. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't mind if you have a comment about our show or you comment about us on the show, but if you have a comment about somebody's looks on our show, you comment on all of our looks. That is my father voice for the day. You know, the misshapenness of my beard, the weirdness of Jay's hair. Everybody on the show has to be subject to your beauty standards, as it were. And trust me, I and the other gorillas in the mist don't really stand for that. All right, so I made light of a stupid thing that happened, but it's time to talk heroclix. Jay, what's your week been like in heroclix? Oh yeah? How's that experience been so far? Yeah, I think they're called Chaos collectibles. Yeah.
The Thanos duplicate at 50.
Jay, I'm going to need you to restart because I accidentally turned your sound off.
I
2 weeks in a row! I'm getting good at this, folks.
Get good. Is it done?
So, Jay, you went to Chaos Collectibles. You played some HeroClix in the pre-releases. You played in a lot of pre-releases this week, right?
Yes, I played 3 in Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
This game bring everybody back up to speed so you can continue.
Yeah, so my first one didn't pull anything super rare or above in the actual boosters, but I still had a pretty decent team. I played the Valley Crossbones, the generic Gunslinger, Sheriff Steve Rogers, Thanos Duplicate, so the common non-prime at 50, 019 Iron Man, which is the Spider Island one, and Alex Wilder, who is, I think, good enough for Constructed. I guess I should go over him quickly because I played him 2 out of 3 pre-releases. Basically, 25 points. He has a special power to start off where your opponent chooses 2 of Outwit, Perplex, and Prop for him to use, which is obviously in and of itself amazing, but also I love the confusing decision-making your opponent has to make, and they have to give you 2 out of 3 good powers, so they end up being like, wait, what don't I give them? Like, all those powers are good. So, yeah, very incredibly good for 25 points. I ended up going 2-1, although my one loss was kind of iffy because basically in the early game, everything hinged on my Iron Man's breakaway, with which was a running shot breakaway with plasticity. So I rolled the 1 because of course. So, I mean, I still lost. I feel like if I would have got that breakaway roll and made some important attacks and done this, that, and the other, it would have been a bit different. But I was still playing against Cecil, who's a good player, and he had the Prime Captain Marvel, so the vampire. Although I shot her early, so she was next to useless the whole game. I'm trying to remember. I had the math on my side, but I was so paranoid about missing that I put a perplex into my attack instead of damage when I needed like a 6 with a prob, so I didn't one-shot her. It didn't end up mattering really. So and there was also a Spider Island Hulk, which is quite scary. So that was my one loss. Next day I played at the 4-1 Games North location in Vaughan. Also, nothing spectacular as far as rarity goes, but I got to play some good figures. I played Sheriff Steve again, Alex Wilder again. And Sheriff Steve's you can't positively modify your attack when attacking him or an adjacent character is kind of relevant because there's much perplex in this set. So good luck with your Baron stuff. Oh, I guess I should also mention the previous night I had to play against a She-Hulk Prime and a Maestro double perplexing each other's stats, and it was brutal. That pattern roll to other keyword is really good in sealed.
Yeah.
As far as the next day went, I did Sheriff Steve, Alex Wilder again, Man-Thing Commander, and Jennifer Kale at 33 because Man-Thing Commander is decent for, he's kind of a bruiser. Alex Wilder shares Mystical with him, so you can match him on to him. And then I had Jennifer Kale the leadership on him, as well as Sheriff Steve, because Sheriff Steve and Man-Thing Commander shared Soldier, which is pretty cool. And then I finished the team off with Ultimate Thor, who is probably kind of the Cable in this set, where he's your powerhouse of low rarity sort of thing. I'm trying to... I mean, there's not an incredible amount of stealth in this set. I guess all the Runaways have it, but I'm not really sure off the top of my head that there's so much stealth that his ignoring it is relevant, but it's still something to keep in mind, I guess. Especially since he has the police team ability, so if your friendly next to him is shooting, you'll definitely get the PD off. Yep. So that, what did I do? Oh, I went 1 and 2. What did I lose? I lost to Emily. I lost to Jordan with Nick the Fury, and he managed to pull the Nick the Fury Super Rare two days in a row and ended up winning both of those pre-releases. Although this time I managed to get a Gertrude York's and Old Lace for my prize booster, along with the Odin Chase from prize booster the previous day, which was cool because otherwise I think my total number of boosters over the weekend was 11 or so with one chase and the super rare. So that if I hadn't gotten those, I would have felt a little bad. My last pre-release, I ended up playing. I may as well have only gotten one pack because I only played out of one pack. My one pack had Ultimate Thor, Thorus, Boar Thor, and the Thor generic. So I was like, okay, I'll play my one pack. I was 5 points under, but name theme was pretty good. I ended up going 2-1. I lost to Glenn with Spider Queen Super Rare, along with a Man-Thing generic Soldier and a Man-Thing Commander. So he actually had monster theme. Not that it really mattered so much, because I don't know. I don't feel like there would have been a map that really mattered specifically. But but otherwise, yeah, that happened. So overall, I had a lot of fun with the set so far. I did decently well enough without pulling anything ridiculously rare. And it's another, I mean, it's a normal one chase per case set. It's not like there's going to be these super high power Odins everywhere necessarily, unless you're in like a Team World situation. But for standard sealed, I think you can not have to worry about an incredible amount of chases. And even a lot of the super rares aren't necessarily going to make or break anything. Like Gertrude York and Old Lace are not gonna win you a game. They even chase Iron Fist. I don't think there's really any auto wins in this set. Is what I'm basically saying. So
good.
Yeah,
it's important. I think the closest thing to a sealed breaker I saw in my, because I don't know if you guys caught it this week. Amber and myself were able to do our own unboxing. And I think the closest thing to a really, really super strong sealed character was a Super Rare Thanos. But even that still remains to be seen. I need to see him in action to decide whether or not that's by far the fact or not. So, outside of that, we've been fighting with Amber's old hard drive because I found the one that failed and broke her computer. And guess where we were holding all of our raw video content? So I spent a couple days trying to recover some of that. Couldn't get it all. Got most of it. So we still have our multiple days worth of content a week on track, as it were. So don't panic about that. But yeah, I haven't had a chance to do any pre-releases. I'm not gonna get a chance to do any pre-releases. We could not get a babysitter for next weekend, so Amber is gonna take the time. She's actually gonna take Alexis over, and I'm still deciding as to whether or not it's gonna be her first experience in a HeroClix tournament. We'll see how that goes, you know, they're gonna get a chance to play that. I'm gonna stay home with the boys, so I'm gonna be mostly kind of virtually attempting to read through the set because. I mean, it's kind of important that I get some information out of this set. It is part of Team Worlds, and Team Worlds is an important part of qualification for Worlds this year. Granted, I don't know if you've watched our video itself. We did take a little bit of time to try out Team World build, and like after watching and seeing what we've done and thinking about, you know, because it's a double-edged sword. It's like this is the first time we're looking at these figures in person, but then second problem is that this is the first time we're looking at all these figures in person trying to build 3 teams with 2 brains. And a couple of things I look back on like, oh, hold on a second. I could have done something with Battle World Other and the Maestro, and we didn't end up putting them on a team. We ended up kind of leaning towards that Weird World, which I don't think was really Team World's level of Team Sealed worthy. Yeah. But overall, the set looks like there's a lot of depth to it, and I feel like the Team Sealed pools are going to be really, really cool to work with, especially with the way this set is built. Like, if we actually looked at it, if we go back to our video, we could have had 3 reasonable like generals to each team, or 1 biggish figure, and then we could have just kind of worked around that figure. And I think that's really strong for a sealed pool. Subsequently, there's enough theming in this set, especially with the Battle World Valley stuff that I observed. And that stuff is that a lot of those figures, like at first glance, is like it's not that good. But then you read it again, and it's like, hold on a second. Like Jay was saying, Sheriff Steve Rogers is he's got 18 defense with energy shield, and you don't get to increase your stats. I dare you. Now, granted, my name is Jason Collins, and I've got hubris around me, and as a result, I will make everybody hit 10s or higher. That's just gonna happen. It's my curse, and I'm gonna deal with that. But that said, a lot of the rares really stand out in the set. A lot of the uncommons really stand out in the set. There's a couple commons that are really good. Overall, I'm very impressed with the set and what I've seen. So obviously, I've got more shows with which to talk about different types of topics on it. So I mean, Into the Mind of Madness, I'd be spending a lot of time discussing the idea of sealed pulls. I might actually start doing like a random number generator sort of system with it. I just gotta figure out the mathematics on that, as it were. Excuse me. Okay, so I kind of got all that off of my chest. We have some things to look at. The pictures are out of the Fast Forces. We didn't get them at Married with Clix Central, unfortunately. We usually do get them, but I guess this time around things got fallen behind. Whoops, wrong window was open when I did that. So let's try this again. We're going to start our look at the Runaways with Rose Red. Now you'll look, the real names on these characters will actually be the names of the versions of the characters that you see in the main set. So like Rose Red is actually in set Clara Prast. So just so there's no confusion actually between the two. I think that was a good design choice in my opinion. Because a lot of time you get resculpts in these situations. All right. So Runaway and Pass on Rose Red. Now we only look at this character in the realm of constructed play because Fast Forces aren't in any way, shape, or form part of sealed play. Not necessarily, I mean, you know, that is what it is. So we look for Sinclair at Rose Red. Traded with the ability to use Smoke Cloud, and when she uses it, if she occupies pretty hindering terrain, she may instead generate up to 12 hindering markers. When she uses Poison, which she has on all 4 clicks of her dial, characters adjacent to 3 or more of her smoke clouds are considered adjacent to her. Outside of that, she's got 4 clicks of stealth, 4 clicks of hope, poison, ends it with 2 clicks of combat reflexes, 2 clicks of exploit weakness, and 2 clicks of support at the back end on a 40-point dial. What do you think, Jay?
It's a fun figure, but I just don't really see the competitiveness of what she doesn't really do anything. Like the shooter range poison is okay, but I just feel like there are other poison options, like you can call on Rusty. Like there's so many other things going on. Better smoke cloud figures. I just definitely could be fun, but not really for the competitive, unfortunately.
Yeah, especially once you can compare her to the Insect Clara Prast, who I feel like actually has a when Joker's Wild retires, replace the Green Lantern sort of feel to her. I might be making that up, and I might just be overlooking or overvaluing the character, but I feel like that potential is kind of there. All right, then next up, we have Sister Grimm, Nico Minoru. Avengers, Massive Evil, Runaways, and Mystical Keywords. Staff of One is her special power she has on her last 4 clicks, so click 1 doesn't have this. Probability Control. When she uses it to reroll an attack roll with 1 or more 1s, after resolutions, heal her 1 click. Oh, well, that's why she doesn't have it on the first click. 50 points with the Mystics team ability, Stealth on the first 2 clicks, Sidestep on the last 3, 4 clicks of Quake, and then 3 clicks of Super Senses, 2 clicks of Mastermind. Jay, what do you think of Sister Grimm?
It's definitely my favorite figure in the Fast Forces. Although mystical is just such a big keyword now, I feel like it's hard to look at any one mystical figure when you just consider the sheer amount of good stuff there is. Mm-hmm. And the Mystics is good, but I feel like that'll be better in a post-rotation world when we don't have the Retaliators to take advantage of it on the opposing side. But a Mystics character that can heal itself for essentially free is always good. It's decent defenses. Everything is fine. 50 points to call in the relevant stuff is good. If it wasn't for the Retaliators, I think it would be a little better. But even then, it's not, oh my god, amazing sort of thing.
This one, once again, like the other one, kind of falls prey to, I like the 1 in set better. Because the 1 in set has that double prob. And I kind of like that.
And the TK.
Yeah, and TK. So there's a little bit more utility in that one. And it's 10 less points. All right, next up. Alex Wilder. Massive Evil, Runaways, Keywords. Special attack power on his first 3 clicks. Mentor in Evil. Leadership, Outwit. When Alex Rider uses Outwit after resolutions, the target can't use Leadership or Outwit until your next turn. He's got Sidestep on his first 2 clicks, followed by 3 clicks of Stealth. He's got Incapacity on his first 2 clicks, Willpower on his first 2 clicks, and then he's got a special power on his first 3, followed by 2 clicks of Outwit. What do you think of this with Alex Wilder?
I am not really a fan, doubly so when you compare it to the other one, who's just phenomenal. But even without that, it's just essentially no defenses and doesn't really do anything worth playing in competitive, really. So it's never going to happen, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. I'm not really sold on this guy either, especially when you can get lower point characters that do a lot of what he does. I feel like this is not the type of character that should find its way into a Fast Forces myself.
I feel like they could have very easily flipped the dials, and this would have ended up being a must-buy Fast Forces.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next up, Talkback. He's part of the Fraternity of Raptors, Masters of Evil, Runaways, and Armor. Chase Stein is his real name, so I haven't seen the Chase Stein in set yet, so I don't have that comparison value on this one. Dark Hawk Amulet is his special movement power, which he has on his last 4 clicks. Charge and Flight. When Talkback uses Charge and hits after resolutions, you may heal him 1 click. He starts with 2 clicks of Sidestep, 4 clicks of that special movement power. Also has 2 clicks of Precision Strike with 4 clicks followed up of Blade's Claws, blank defense on the first 2, followed by 4 defense clicks of Toughness, and 2 clicks of Perplex on the first 2 clicks. 50 points. Jay?
Definitely some potential for casual, but unfortunately, again, not really for competitive at all, but there are some mastermind characters for casual to get him onto the good clicks, basically.
Absolutely. All right. Next up, Princess Powerful. Now this is good. This definitely suffers from I like the main set one better for me. Runaways keyword. How about I hit him with this as a special attack power she has on click 1, 3, and 5. Super strength free if Princess Powerful is not holding an object. Generate a standard light object that she's holding. And that flip flops charge and sidestep. So clicks 1, 3, and 5 have charge. 2, 4, and 6 have sidestep. 1, 3, and 5 have the special attack power. The other ones are blank. And then she alternates with 18 defense with invulnerable on clicks 1, 3, and 5, with 16 defense and toughness of the rest. And then her damage goes 3 clicks of 3 and 3 clicks of 2. 50 points on Princess Powerful. Jay?
I'm not as big a fan of the main main set version, so this is a good alternative.
How can you not like a 25-point character that deals 4 damage?
It's obviously a good figure. I just am not a fan of the no charge part. Like, you basically have to TK her and then sidestep in. It's harder to pull off. Like, it's obviously a good figure, but for other options for the character. But yeah, it's a fun little dial for sure. Never having to worry about not having an object is good. And, you know, if you know you're going to push and you can drop a light object for someone else, going from the click with the power to click without it sort of thing. And, you know, so.
You are currently lucky nobody can see the look I'm giving you right now and the shame that you should have. For the exact same number of points, I can get 2 Molly Hays. Both have the same number of clicks of health. Both can do potentially 4 damage. It's literally double the cost for about the same effectiveness.
I mean, I don't even like this one as much as the What If version, so. But.
All right. I believe... Nope, we got one more to go here. Lucy in the Sky with diamonds. Runaway cosmic keywords. Carolina Dean, of course, being her polar other. Majestanian Heritage is her special attack power. She has her first 3 clicks. Pulse Wave. When Lucy in the Sky uses it to target more than one character, hit characters are dealt 1 square, or dealt within 1 square, are dealt 2 damage instead of 1. I read that wrong the first time I read it. 5 range to targets. Click 1 and 4 have running shot. Clicks 2, 3, and 5, and 6 will have sidestep. She has her special power on her first 3 clicks, followed by 3 clicks of regular old Pulse Wave. No special defense powers, but she does have the energy shield on the first 3 and barrier on her last 3. 60 points, Jay, for Lucy in the Sky.
I feel like it's a future like level below him, maybe, because like rank shot Pulse Wave is good. The stats are all decent. I feel like if we find ourselves in a world where Beta Ray Bill is competitively viable, they share cosmics, so basically maybe because of that. And the game is pretty swarmy, so the 2 damage Pulse Wave is good, sort of thing. So yeah.
I mean, I don't think we can say that Beta Ray Bill isn't competitively viable, given that there are teams that do use him, and they have placed with those teams. So I would say the team is viable. It's just not frequently used, would be the proper use of phrasing for that, I think. But
I don't know he was seeing any play right now. It's interesting.
I've seen him. I have seen him many a time. Walk around with your eyes open. Anyway, that said, I don't feel that she's a necessary play. I do like her, and I don't feel as though she's going to break the game, but there's, like you said, there's considerations for her. I just don't think any of the current archetypes include her, but she might be part of a different archetype that we haven't seen yet, or we haven't come up with or hypothesized. I know I haven't yet because I haven't even started hypothesizing. So, all right, and that about wraps that up. So let's get back to this. Okay, there we go. All right, so that's a look at the fast forces, Runaways fast forces. We know what the set looks like now. So we'll do a quick at a glance. You know, we're not going to go piece by piece this week. We'll pick our top pieces come next week. We'll discuss. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about team sealed once we have guys on a semi-regular basis kind of on the show, because honestly, it's important. We can talk about how singles teams kind of go, but there's or singles figures and builds go, but if you don't get past that team sealed, then you may be out of, like, it may be harder for you to qualify, because we're talking about team seal, which qualifies 48 players, versus the leftovers, which will qualify in the singles. How many players get out of that? And I think that's a top 50% in that, right? So if like 32 players are left over from that, let's just ballpark it, right? Let's just say there's 32 players who go into the singles qualifier. That means only 16 qualify from that. So that's actually significantly less than team sealed. So that format deserves a lot of discussion, and we will talk about it a lot, because when we talk about the full set in review, it needs to be stressed. For if you're going to Worlds, it's important information to have. But at a glance, Jay, how do you feel about the set as, be a competitive metagame? Do you see any new archetypes that might kind of float out of nowhere? Or?
Not really thinking that any. I think it's more of a supplementary set if we're talking meta. Mm-hmm. I guess maybe you could say Chase Strange can make Mystical more viable. Alex Wilder can jump on those teams because he has it. I don't really think it makes any new archetypes specifically. Maybe police, but even then, that feels like a maybe. Nothing I can really say. I feel like for sure comes out of this.
Now, I know I said it on my own other show where I'm just talking obnoxious head, but I feel like Mystical could be just back in the running. Like, especially with Witch Queen LeFay out there, there's potential. I don't care if you can look at X number of weaknesses. You might not even get a chance to cash in on those weaknesses with her flexibility. I mean, I feel like the top version of her dial is worth consideration when you consider that every movement power except for 2 on the pack is on her dial for the first 2 clicks, which is bonkers. Like, you're talking about the possibility of flurry charge, hypersonic, whatever. Like, there's just so much going on with that, and I feel like anybody who's possibly missing out on that, or like not looking at that properly, may need to go back. We even had our doubts about Unimind at first, but then once we started like really talking about it, we kind of went down to, I think it's Unimind. We got down to Jakeem or Unimind with Nighthawk Prime being like the archetypes just before Rock Worlds and what happened, right? So I'm not gonna say it's definitely a thing, but I'm gonna say it's worth eyes on it, if that means any kind of matter. So
yeah, there's certain characters that are kind of silver bullety in general that you want to consider. Like, I feel like Spiderling just means that sometimes people play less Retaliators.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and I don't think she'll stop Retaliators, but I think, like, I'm stepping away from the monster team because of her existence. It's like...
Yeah, like, I know you had a bunch of Retaliators, and we had 2 teams at the Canada Cup that were both basically Sam, other stuff, literally 4 Retaliators each.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think she warrants consideration. Doctor Strange warrants consideration, sort of thing, for sure. So I think the environment changes because of the set, but not necessarily because of the set necessarily seeing play, which is still fine. Any change is interesting, theoretically.
Do you think at Rock World Cup we'll see the much... No, this set's not going to be legal because Rock Cup's this weekend, isn't it?
No, it's next weekend, and the set comes out next week, so it's just too early.
So Rock Cup, but do you think Worlds will see the idea of the Iron Fist rush come to fruition? Is somebody going to be brave enough to play that, do you think?
It's hard to say. I mean, it's also hard to say because there's just so many possibilities with that team. Because if you're breaking theme for the Penguin, you can pretty much do anything.
Yeah.
So,
So, yeah, I feel like it's another. Oh, jeez, come on, Steam. Give me a second.
I'm trying to think. Like, if you, yeah, you can do some interesting things there. Like, if you can get the symbiote, bless you, or don't die. If
Don't
you can
draw
get
attention to it. I turned the mic off for it.
okay, if you can get the symbiote on her and actually get her into the action, like she shuts off Flurry, if I'm recalling correctly, right?
Opposing Flurry in close combat expert, I believe. Oh,
Right, but that including Walking Woods.
Yeah.
So she makes Walking Woods a little less good. There's all sorts of powers she shuts off. So yeah, I can see some stuff going on, especially if you plasticity tie down an opposing character to make sure that she will be base and then she can't be shot. But yeah, there's some stuff to play around with there.
Yeah. Okay. We'll talk about it more once the sets, once we had a little bit more time to digest the set. Like I said, I opened a brick and I haven't digested anything. I barely even snacked on it, to be 100% brutally honest, because it's a degree of honesty, as it were. I remember back in the day, I used to complain when I found out certain Magic teams got stuff in advance. It's like, how am I supposed to play against that? They know the set like a week ahead, and I used to complain about that, so I try to avoid allowing anybody that complaint. Though I'm not good enough at this game for that to be a problem to anybody, am I? All right. Yeah, so that's a set at a glance. It's looking good. Sealed's looking okay. Like I said, I do want to see how Thanos does in the Sealed before I call him the, oh goodness, what's going on? But at the same time, Team Sealed has its way of working that out on its own, which is good news.
I've only had the chance to see, as far as chases go, Doctor Strange be played. But that was also a player that was used to play, came back recently, so hard to say. So I haven't been able to see if the chases dominate, but I feel like certain ones can be quite intimidating, like the Odin. So
yeah, the Odin. I can see the Odin being somewhat tough in his own right. Sorry, I'm just kind of playing with my headphones because I ran out of power on them, so they started beeping at me as a result, and hopefully the plug-in sounds are stopped for you guys. Yeah, so like you were saying, there's some stuff that's tough, but nothing necessarily breaking it, so that's promising. And I'm really looking forward to. I'm hoping to get into the release day seal at the very least. Cut a sharp look to Amber.
I heard there's a Hulk-related figure as a prize for that, supposedly.
Is there?
She-Hulk.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I gotta tell you, when I first opened that uncommon She-Hulk, what the heck?
Yeah, I am extremely happy to have that figure.
Like, this is the non-prime uncommon She-Hulk, and I looked at it, I was like, why does she... 3 clicks of prop? What? Running shot? 6 range? What am I reading here? What is this figure? Goodness
yeah,
me.
that'll definitely be an interesting Rock Age call. And it's like, I'm gonna call in She-Hulk. She's gonna use running shots.
Yeah, yeah. People will be like, "Wait, hold on, what?" Yeah, I call in She-Hulk. She's gonna use running shot, energy explosion. Energy explosion. Shush you, okay? All right, I missed. I'm gonna prob. She has prob. Like just increasing degrees of register coming from your opponent. It's gonna be a good old time.
Yeah, it's kind of like playing Alex Wilder. They're like, wait, what?
I haven't seen the main set one, and I want to be surprised. So don't spoil it for me just yet. This one, I want to see what you're seeing in this figure. All right. On that, is there anything else we need to go over? Because we have a couple good questions, I think, this week.
I don't think anything really. Like we have. I mean, the only news we've had is the Fast Forces because the set is pre-released.
Yeah.
So.
And Rock World Cup is next weekend, so we'll spend next week actually spending a little bit of time talking about that. I'm going to try to wrangle the dudes that are best for talking about this, but I'm not sure. We'll check. We'll see how it goes. It is akin to herding cats, and I'm waiting till like the very last second to do this, so bear with me. But I will try to get some roundtables together, and just spend a little time during the week. Maybe actually make it the Into the Mind of Madness this week instead of trying to replace the Metal Lab with it. So anyway, actually I think I like that idea. Just as many of the players that we want to have on this kind of show just all at once and literally embrace the madness on Into the Mind of Madness. We'll see. Yeah, it sounds exhausting, eh? That show usually airs on Wednesday too, so it'll be just before a lot of players are traveling.
Yeah, especially because there is a Thursday night event. So
there is.
Yeah, that's they're doing the Critical Clix Weird Sealed again, where it's.
Oh, that was so fun.
Yeah, it wasn't there last year. But...
That was fun to judge. I had some rulings. It was like, hold on a second. Yeah, no, that checks out.
Yeah, I'm judging that one this year, so it'll be interesting to see the interaction with people. Somebody with Icon Superman is like, wait, I can't use the super strength with my hypersonic anymore.
Hey Jay, what does the Skrulls team ability do?
Oh boy,
prove it. I think I have some old packs if you want.
Yeah, I don't think team abilities have been in the pack since I've been playing. So
I have a pack that from back when they had them.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I hate you.
Good luck with that one. Scott, if you're listening, Scott, make sure you have Supernova as one of the sets. So many Skrulls in this. That, and I think it was the Avengers movie set had a couple Skrulls in there too.
Yeah, the original movie set did. Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna move on to questions now because we're being silly. If you have any questions and you're watching live in the chat, put capital letters question in front of your question so that I can catch my eyes. So it hasn't been too busy in the chat, so it should be pretty easy to catch things. Bit of a short episode because it's Turkey Coma Day for us up here in Canada, where we're celebrating the harvest, as it were. And we do want to take a second to thank our patrons over at patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. Any evaluation of the Patreon of patron gets you access to our patron Discord, and this coming Sunday, our patron hangout, where we take a little bit of time and chit chat with our patrons, and they ask us questions and we answer them. And as I answer them, I apologize for that noise, guys. As I answer them with increasing amounts of alcohol in my system, so it's a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to it. So October 14th, this Sunday, is going to be when that occurs. Really looking forward to that. And of course, this past week was our first week of 7 episodes per week, and the patrons are pivotal in that and incentivizing us. So I want to thank them in any number of ways that we can. So once again, patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. All right, on to the Facebooks. First question comes from one Andrew Fairweather. Why can't they make a chart that lists what powers can and cannot work with each other? Do you guys agree? It would save so many headaches. Reason I say this is I was told that you can't use flurry, blades, and exploit together with charge. I'm not sure if this is correct or not. You can use charge, flurry, and then blades, but you can't use charge, flurry, blades, exploit. It's because you can't use flurry, exploit. So you use like charge, blades, exploit. You could use charge, flurry, blades, but you can't use charge, flurry, blades, exploit. And the reason for that is charge is a close that allows, or is a power that allows you to move and then make a close at no cost. A close would be either flurry or exploit weakness, and then blades triggers off of the use of a close. And that's kind of, I don't think a power interaction chart is necessarily required. It's just understanding, like once you understand that portion of it, that's where it kind of makes a lot more sense. Back in previous set of rules, and this is the thing, if you come from one rule set to another, you get confused. But it's for a new player, this is all like kind of common sense. Like, we used to be able to use energy explosion with psychic blast, but now both of those are a capital letter range, and as a result, you can't use them together. So yeah, I'm of the opinion we kind of get it nowadays. I don't feel like a specific chart that says that, because I mean, honestly, everything works with precision strike, everything close combat works with steel energy, right? So how can you? It gets to be like its own pack if you try to list all of that. So I don't feel like that's necessarily a requirement of the game. I don't know. What do you think, Jay?
I disagree strongly with the idea of such a chart, because that disincentivizes people to learn how everything works. So I would rather not have such a thing and have people learn the rules and understand why certain things can and can't combo together, especially because you're also going to get special powers that have their own things. Like, you might have, let's say you have a special power that gives a bunch of powers that work together. I've seen this before. People are like, a power gives charge and running shot. Can I use them both in the same action, sort of thing? And like, I would just rather people know how the rules work to begin with altogether. So, and it's good now because, yeah, like you said, Psychic Blast and Energy Explosion don't combo anymore. There's less comboing in general, so it's a little more clear. Well, yeah, you get the running shot interactions and the charge interactions, but other than that, there's no weird stuff anymore. So, yeah.
Okay. He does go on to ask another question: is if Jason Collins was a heroclix, what would his card look like? Jay, you do this. I like it when other people do it. I'm boring about it.
The card? Like, I don't think I get the. I'm looking at the.
What would my special powers be?
I was gonna say it would be hard to read because there would be a fine layer of hair all over it.
No, that would be the character. Okay, I would just be a resculpt of Sasquatch. All right, we get that.
Let's see. I think just close combat powers, and you could maybe argue perplex because comsci stuff is like close. I don't know. Oracle gets a bunch of weird powers because computer science. Hacking things.
But how many rules would I change as a game designer?
Oh. That would be... Oh, dear.
How do you reflect that in the game, I guess is what I'm saying. Actually, they did it with Odin. Target character can't use protected outwit. Why? Why would you create that interaction? That is the worst idea. Oh, man, I'm looking forward to the rules problems that come with that.
Well, there's also the clarification we need on what it means when he says he shuts off stop clicks. Like, does that mean he shuts off the stop part? Like, if you have Unimind's stop, regen, impervious, is that he shuts off the whole power? Does he shut off just the stop? Does, like, what it's... So...
Way to go. Way to go. All right.
Oh, boy.
Next up, LeChad asks, and this is not Clix related, with who would you like to tag team in a wrestling match, and why not Jericho? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say Pentagon from those of you who are familiar with the indie pro wrestling or Impact Wrestling or Lucha Underground, because Jericho lately has had a habit of showing up as other people in masks. Therefore, I probably have Jericho as a partner. I'm just not aware yet. So, yeah, Chris Jericho. You stupid idiot! What do you think, Jay?
I thought you were just going to skip me on purpose.
Oh, no.
I mean, I was going to say Macho Man, but he's dead, so is he going to be a zombie, or is he going to be normal alive? I don't know what the...
I'm not going to lie to you. Coming up later this month, there literally is a local wrestling group called Smash Pro Wrestling running zombie wrestling. Just saying.
Oh, God.
But, so, what would your answer be, Jay?
I don't know modern wrestling. I don't know. Why are you annoying me? You're making me look bad in front of the fans. I look stupid. It's a waste of time. I don't know.
Wait, you couldn't even go with an easy answer like The Rock or Steve Austin or...
Sure, The Rock,
Right.
and then
Well, the problem is that answer is not Chris Jericho. Because of that, you just made the list.
Can I do The Rock but substitute myself with George because Black Adam? Is that allowed?
Sorry, you're still on the list. Your answer was not Chris Jericho, therefore you just made the list. All right. Next up, George Himes. Good day to all the lab. There's a lot of WWE questions coming up these days. You gotta get yourself ready, man. If you're not ready for this, dude.
Why are all the third-party licenses so perfect for you? Like Ninja Turtles now. Oh, God.
Because I am the uber nerd. You gotta understand that, man. I watch crappy B movies. I play and make video games. I love computer stuff. I read ridiculous comics, like ridiculous cartoons, get like tangential reading from heroclix as a result of it. It's bonkers, man.
You're everywhere.
I am. I'm so everywhere you can't even see me. Do you? Good day to all in the lab. Sorry, George Himes. Do you possibly think that for the upcoming WWE Clix, WizKids would repackage the boxing ring with one less rope, and instead of Muhammad Ali and Superman, include Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan from WrestleMania 3 as a con exclusive? That I don't think would be out of the question. But I also think that the WWE wrestling ring, or the WrestleMania 3 wrestling ring, would function differently from the boxing ring. I think that's a good idea, personally. If you check my predictions article on MajesticCCG.com, you know that I predict that old guys like Hogan and Andre the Giant are going to be chases. But I think George Himes is onto something with an idea of repackaging the boxing ring with red ropes, throw in WrestleMania 3 as the name on the ring, and just, you know, have it as its own set of rules. That's what I think would work. Jay, what do you think?
Sure, it sounds good.
Amber, I'm going to need a new co-host, somebody who's watched an episode of wrestling.
I'm not in the proper age bracket for wrestling. I think I'm just slightly too young for this.
Wait. Whoa. I watched wrestling at 5 years old, man.
I meant generation-wise. I don't think people my age watch wrestling. Like I'm friends with all the heroclix people. I don't see anybody my age posting about wrestling.
You need to go on the Squared Circle subreddit and educate yourself, sir, because there's people in your age bracket that are definitely posting on there.
Oh God. This was not part of the job description.
It wasn't until it was.
Oh God.
It was, and all things heroclix, Jay.
Also, our 5-year-old had a hissy fit today because his favorite wrestler didn't win the match.
That's true. My 5-year-old was not happy that The Undertaker lost a match against Triple H this weekend. Spoiler alert for anybody who didn't miss the Super Showdown this weekend. All right. Next up, Michael Fedor, the Alpha Patron. Bunch of related questions on the new set, if you don't mind. Is this new Battle World set good for Sealed? Is it good for the Battle Royale format? And most importantly, is it really ready for the Everyman format? Lastly, what has emerged as your favorite piece in the Battle World set? So before we start answering these, the Everyman format, I'm going to answer this question later this week on Everyman for Everyone. Because we have a good idea of what the commons look like, so I'm going to do a bit of a sneak peek on that show. Sealed, I think we talked about. We think it's a pretty balanced, good set. There's some really strong Sealed figures in the lower rarity bracket, which really makes the set stand out for Sealed. But for Battle Royale...
I'm not sure about Battle Royale. I feel like
I've seen some ticking time bomb sets. Like there's one pack Amber and I pulled. We actually kind of observed this because we did first pack first pick for Battle Royale as another portion of our video. We observed a pack that was like all support characters, and for Battle Royale that's just bad. But at the same time, we also saw a pack where it's like we had a high level. We had Thanos in the same pack as the Maestro. You got to pick one of those, buddy, and then you got to pass somebody a Maestro. So this set sounds like it's volatile. I mean, every set is volatile for battle royales. This one seems super volatile for battle royales because like if I pick one Thanos and have Maestro in the pack, and I pass left, and the dude that I'm passing left to picked one Ultimate's Thor, I'm behind. So, I don't know. What do you think, Jay?
More mixed as far as that goes. Like certain figures, I think, are just problematic. Like Witchwind LeFay could just run havoc with all those powers. Like Pulse Wave, literally every, running shot, sidestep for full swing, Pulse Wave the whole map. On the right map, I don't think Regent can lose because if it's on an indoor blocking map, Regent can choose improved targeting, ignores blocking, doesn't destroy it though, which also includes the not having the 1 square limit. So that can be a nightmare of a figure that's just shooting you can't do anything about. But yeah, there's going to be some interesting dilemmas. Like, you could theoretically pull, really good power uncommon, like you said, really good super rare, whatever. But, yeah, I think it remains to be seen, but it could be some fun as far as Battle Royales go.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it's a bad set, but any set's volatile as far as Battle Royales are concerned. Like, who knows what's going to come up in each pack, and what ridiculousness could occur, and you just have to brace yourself. The second you open that first pack, and check what your opponent to the right is about to pass you. It's past the left in Battle Royales, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Like, look what the person to your right has open too. I mean, you're not going to be able to judge based on that, but, like, if you look at that, this set could be absolutely off the wall. More so than other sets, I think.
Yeah, I feel like as far as that environment goes, there are some dud rares, but there's also enough good things in common uncommon that it kind of balances out. But
how frustrating are World Breakers going to be in Battle Royales?
Oh dear,
they're commons, 100-point common with 2 stop clicks.
Yeah, I think the most annoying figure is going to be Odin for multiple reasons, but also he's kind of the ultimate kill steal with his free range attack.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, charge one figure.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Because you can charge one figure, either kill it or knock it back with knockback to be able to make the range attack and be like, oh, you're across the board, Mjolnir. So kill something over there. So, yeah. But I feel like it could be problematic because there's some high point stuff. Like, what's the high? Is Regent the highest point figure and he's like 240 or something?
Yeah.
Like, there are some figures in the 200 point range, so it might not be the absolute best ever Battle Royale, but I don't know.
All right. Next up. Oh, I gotta get the piece of paper again. I kind of messed up Amber's writing on here, so I apologize because Jay's on the list now. This episode, official. Chris Stock has his own rubber stamp on it. I can survive the rest of the episode with what power I have in this, because I'm sure people are like, just plug it in already. Chris Stock has a question statement. Since Team Married with Clix didn't ask me to join the heroclix team, I went and joined the CW. I'm guessing Clix World Order I'm pretty sure I did ask him if he wanted to join the show at some point.
I think his work schedule doesn't really work.
His work schedule didn't allow him to do it on Mondays. But that was just a Metal Lab. I mean, that made him officially a part of the team. I guess I'm not sending him any more team ideas.
When he said CWO, I thought he meant a wrestling team. That just sounds like
wrestling. It's a joke on the New World. God damn it, Jay. Way back in the 90s when WCW was a thing and had a chance, there's something called the New World Order, which is actually just a retirement home for wrestlers who were great in the WWE, got old, and then shipped to the WCW for more money.
I was going to say it sounded like WCW, but...
It's basically how the WCW made money for a lot of while.
Yeah, there's a lot of players on that team though. Like I feel it's
it's getting bloated like the New World Order. How about that?
well, yeah, you hear about these heroclix teams now that are going to team events and they have like 3 separate sub teams because they just have that many players.
All right, I'm going to clarify this once we get through Chris's question. As people who have been part of a team for a while now, how should I behave? Should I be myself? Should I convince all my new teammates that they are playing what they're playing is wrong and they should adapt to my play style? All right. There's a lot to unpack on that one, and there's also a lot that we have to lead in with. So, but first things first, a heroclix team is not what you think it is. It is a group of people who get together and practice together and like to wear similar clothing. That's a heroclix team. And even the similar clothing is, like, I think Phoenix Nest has the most notable team wear. I mean, other guys generally have like a nice little printed on shirt, or I've seen like bowling style shirts from Scott Crampton and crew. Like, you know, it's just a group of guys who practice together. I mean, this is heroclix. This is not Magic the Gathering. There's no prize splitting. We will offer up figures to each other. It's a pool of figures to borrow and whatnot. So that is the grand scale of a team. So when we go back to Chris's question, of course, when you join a team of heroclix players, you are supposed to be yourself, because what are you doing to me, Steam? You're just supposed to be yourself because that's why you're on the team. This is just a bunch of guys you like to practice with and are good enough, in your opinion, or smart enough to help you get better at the game through practice. Your behavior should not change for the most part, but you should also not be telling people how they need to be playing. But you should be able to give people advice on how they are playing the game and whether or not they should readapt to their own style, or possibly consider another team that's more their style. And that's can't tell you how many times guys on my team are like, Jason, this isn't your style. This is why I'm running this team. Right?
Yeah, I'm sure there are times when you're like, I had this team idea. I'm like, who dis? This is not Jason.
New phone, who dis? Jason, what are you doing? No, Jason. I think there's one time where I played like an Orange Lantern team, and I managed to build it with like every single power. This is before Pick a Power was even a thing, like before it was a popular thing and in the collective unconscious. I built a team that was capable of canceling just about every power, but was basically incapable of finishing a kill because of my terrible dice rolls. And I think Gluttony was like the main crux of the team. It was like the guts of it. And this is back when we were practicing with Mike Payne, and Mike was like, what do you do? What is this? What are you doing to me? This is not you. I'm like, I know. I have to try something new. What's the matter with it? So, to a certain degree, you can't force players into their own style, but at the same time, you're supposed to give them advice as to how their teams that they're building are going to function, and you want them to give you advice or input as to how their team's functioning. The most important thing you want to work with your team is not necessarily tweaks to the build, but more tweaks to the play. Action reaction sort of situations. Tweaks to the build is it can ruin your team. It's an old problem I used to have where it's like, I started with this team. I did this. This team doesn't do the same thing anymore. And heroclix is very volatile like that. This is not like Magic the Gathering where I have a 60-card deck, I put 2 copies of a card in there, take 2 copies out, the deck still kind of functions but adds a new thing to it. This is heroclix. If I take a piece out, put a new piece in, this new piece is something completely different from this, and it's 2/3 of my team in a lot of cases. And you have to kind of be aware of how that interaction works with heroclix. So, to kind of, I went long story short, when you get into a team situation, you just, it's a group of guys. You want to make sure somebody, or, you know, on a regular basis, you rotate each week or each time you meet, like, hey, you're the gauntlet. You are the meta, and we're using our teams against you. It's best practice sort of situation. So that's how I see a team in heroclix. Jay, how do you see a team in heroclix?
Yeah, practice together, possibly do team events together, no, not necessarily. Like, I know Easton and Howard are on one team for team, but then they have Orange in for their team world sort of things. That not necessarily. They can be mutually exclusive. I think you pretty much covered it. I think the only thing is that in this game you have to definitely be able to both give and take constructive criticism properly.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And never tell Jason it's not his style. I've been playing this game for 15 years. They're all my style. 15 years I've been playing Swarm teams. Don't even kid yourself, Jason. All right. Doesn't look like the chat's too active today. So that about wraps it up for heroclix in the Metal Lab. Jay, do you have anything to say before we wrap her up?
Just that I'm working on a couple pre-World Cup articles for Majestics, which you're going to plug anyways, but look out for 2 of those, one of which is going to be, I guess, sort of the top map review. We have a lot of maps now between the Rock and Wiz kids, so there's a lot of maps.
That's right.
And another, I guess you could call it a rules primer sort of article where I went through all of Modern, I picked out everything that's relevant, and among everything that's relevant, I picked out everything that has rules confusion questions, like sort of what we do before a major event, like what questions are there sort of things. So all of the lockjaw things, because there are many sort of thing.
Yeah,
so
I can imagine.
Hopefully I have those finished soon, because the World Cup is coming up soon, so look out for those. And I'm sure Pat's going to have a whole host of articles before.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm probably not putting much up as far as that's concerned, but I do have my stuff coming up around the corner. So, of course, check us out on Wednesday when we step into the Mind of Madness as I start the crazy train, as it were, before both Rock World Cup and Worlds. I'll probably be sharing some information in regards to Rock World Cup, be sharing some information as far as what I'm looking towards World Cup, heroclix World Cup, for sure. We are also have Every Man for Everyone coming up on Thursday, where what we do is we talk a little about, how I came up with the format. It's weird how I handle this. It's like every week I kind of talk about things that led to the history of this whole format, and then I talk about some strategies with the format. So last week was the first episode, and we talked a little about Cable, and how he's really good in the Everyman format. We're going to spend a little time talking about how Battle World is going to look in this format, and see what we see. Build another team based on what everybody's talking about as far as the format is concerned, and see where we lead on that one. Of course, so keep an eye on the channel. There's a lot of content just coming its way at you. So yeah. Without further ado, then we want to thank our sponsors, that being our Patreons at patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. Like we said earlier, any evaluation gets you access to our Patreon Discord and our Patreon Hangout, which is coming up this Sunday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we're going to hang out and talk with our patrons. We're also brought to you in part by MajesticCCG.com. Check out their premium site, MajesticCCG.com/Apex-Insiders, for access to brain dumps from the great brains of heroclix and the occasional crazy brain of heroclix, as it were. Check them out on their free page. I have recently put up my free article talking about my predictions for the WWE set, post-signing. There's still lots of speculation we can do, and it's all predictions. It's probably all false, so, who knows what's going to happen with it. But, check out that article on MajesticCCG.com. Check out the premium site for all kinds of awesome strategy articles from some really good players in the game. And, Rock World Cup is ticking its way towards us, and that means it's time to get your game on and get some practice, folks, because practice will make your team better. Have a good night, everybody, and burp out.